Hello, and welcome to another edition of One Bad Veggies Root Beer Review, where in this 100th review, we go back to Prohibition. So yeah, I figured for the 100th review that I wanted to do something special, and I had a bunch of different ideas, and the one that I kind of decided to stick with is we're doing a different root beer. Now, as most of you know, I usually like to stick to bottled root beers, craft root beers, and stuff like that. However, in this case, there was a root beer that had been suggested to me a bunch of times, and the only issue that I had with it was generally that it came in a can. Now, I've talked before that root beers that come in a can usually have some sort of metallic tinge or something like that to it, but the thing was this root beer is very much a craft root beer. It's very much there's actual effort put into this. It's small batch brewed. It's interesting that they don't sell it in a glass bottle, to be honest with you, but I figured, you know what, for the 100th review, I'll do it this one time. Well, maybe not this one time. Who knows what happens once we get done with all the root beers that I have to review. But in this case, so, after all that and everything, I guess it's just important to say that we're doing root beer called 1919. Now, 1919 is, I believe, brewed in Minnesota. They claim on their website that it's based off of an old Prohibition era recipe because the building or the brewery that it was brewed in, apparently back in, during the early, 1900s, obviously 1919 being the thing. Well, 1919 was the beginning of Prohibition, so that's kind of why they use it as their moniker, because that was when they started brewing it, because they were a liquor brewery beforehand, and once Prohibition started, they had to move into other drinks, like a lot of places did, which is why they get the title 1919, because that was when they started brewing their root beer at their brewery. But that's kind of like most of the history that I could find out about it. It's like I said, small batch, craft brewed. It fits in all the qualities that I would normally look at to be a root beer that I would normally review. And I think that's why I'm making the special exception for this one. And like I said, the fact that there's so many people that have asked me to review this one in the past. So let's go ahead and get into the ingredients. And let's look at the ingredients, which should be appearing right there. And as you can see, as far as ingredients go, it's the basics. I mean, it's actually super basic. Carbonated water, sugar, natural and artificial flavors. That's as basic as you get. And I think that's kind of their point too, is that they're like, you know what, we're not going fancy. They claim that they're using the same basic ingredients that they used in 1919. I kind of probably think that that's not true because, just how sarsaparilla and stuff was handled at the time, although I am curious if they made sarsaparilla before they started making root beer. But anyway, that's kind of off the topic or whatever. But no, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the can here. And I like the colors. I like it's very kind of flashy, real sugar, real vanilla, caffeine free. That's cool. And you can I'll kind of spin it around here. Take a look, and you can see it kind of goes all the way around here, and then you got all your nutritional facts and everything back here. But yeah, it's funny though, because before I found 1919, which was at like I think the first place I was able to buy it was at a soda sales shop, like a root beer shop or something up in Wisconsin, I want to say, that I just so happened to be driving by one day, and I remember that was the first I had heard of 1919 because of this. This is the root beer review was the first time someone mentioned 1919 was because of because of the root beer reviews that I do. And they, like I said, they were asking me, hey, can you do this one? This is one of my favorite root beers. And then I found a can of it in Wisconsin, like I said, at a root beer sales shop or soda sales shop, whatever you want to call it. And, you know, I tried it and it was good. But at the time, I don't know if maybe I was in a lull or something like that where I wasn't reviewing root beers. I didn't really think about it. I just kind of drank it, you know, because there's definitely a difference between when you just open a can of soda and drink it and when you're drinking a can of soda to review it. But I did remember from that fact that I thought it would be a good idea to review, but like I said, the problem was it was always in a can, so I always kind of figured that I needed like a special occasion or something like that to review it. So yeah, I mean, I kind of got off topic with the ingredients or whatever, but yeah, I like the basic packaging of it. I don't know if that's always been the same packaging. I have seen it in stores now. In fact, that's how I got it here. It's very hard to find as well, and I think that's because it's small batch brewed. Is that they don't have a lot of places where you can buy it, and a lot of times, strangely enough, the places that you find it are in like liquor stores and stuff. That's where I found this one at. There was actually a liquor store that was selling it in boxes and stuff. I did see on their website that they come in 16-ounce cans, and they come in like mini kegs, and now I guess they've started selling them in like normal size cans as well. So I haven't seen those yet out in the wild, but I have seen the kegs, and I have seen the regular 16-ounce cans here. So all right, so let's go ahead and I guess just open this one. I don't need a bottle opener clearly, and let's get ourselves a little bit of the scent. I will say that the one thing that you know, with me always deciding that, you know, I want to do bottles is you don't get the sound of a can cracking open. Then it's nice. So let's go ahead and crack it open. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or not. I'll try to get it close to the microphone. Oh, I saw that. I saw it peak. I saw that. Hopefully it's as loud as it seems like it was. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and get ourselves a little bit of the scent here. Well, it's definitely different than trying to get the scent of something that's in a bottle, because usually with the bottle, you know, you've got a little bit of liquid that's kind of, it doesn't reach all the way to the top, right? There's usually like a thing there, and it kind of allows the scent to waft. With a can, I mean, it's basically, the liquid's basically at the top. And I'm saying this as if nobody's here ever drank from a can in their entire lives, but it is one of those weird things that when you're actually sitting here and you're having to, you know, go, how's that smell? That you notice that you've never noticed before. Just, but I will say, because of it being in a can, you don't really get a whole lot of scent, but there's definitely a sweetness and definitely like a hint of vanilla in there. So let's go ahead, and we've got our scent. Let's go ahead and get out the old trusty mug, and let's check out the pour and the foam. And here we are with the world famous, worldwide sensation, the seductive trusty mug. And we're gonna go ahead and pour this right in. Let's go. Not even halfway done with this can. That's a beautiful foam. That's a beautiful top. That's a beautiful head right there. That's what that is. That's incredible. Let's go ahead and, I guess, fill this up, and then let's get a taste of the foam, and then I'll go ahead and pour the rest in when I get the chance. But that's not going down. Look at that. Look at that. That's incredible. All right, let's go ahead and top it off for now. There's still probably like a quarter of a can left in that. That's insane. That's incredible. All right, let's go ahead and grab the mug here. All right, let's go ahead and try this foam. Oh, look at that. Look at that. And it's stained too. Let's see. That's fantastic. Just purely on a looks, you know. It's incredible. That's one of the best heads I've ever seen. Okay. There is a chemicaliness to it that, you know, happens sometimes. Like I said, I'm never sure what really causes that. I just assume preservatives or something like that. I'm going to take another sip of it because it's still there. So the other thing I would say about the head on this one is it's reminiscent of when you've made a root beer float, and you have you put in the ice cream first, and then you pour the root beer on top, and then it foams up really fast as you're as you're pouring the root beer in, and you've got to and you have this just giant layer of foam of vanilla ice cream, and you got to kind of drink through that or scoop through it or however you deal with it. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of that with a little bit of a chemical back taste and everything like that. But for the most part, that's how I would best describe the flavor of the foam on this one. It's mostly pleasant. And there's definitely, like I just described, there's definitely a flavor to it. And as you saw, it's long lasting. I'm looking over at it now, and it is just now starting to level out on the top, but I still have more root beer to pour in there. So, I'll probably, I don't think it'll overflow at this point, but yeah, no, that was impressive and long lasting and tasty. So, I guess at this point we can just get into the taste test. All right. Bob's up, and look at that. Filled it like perfectly. I guess it's a 16-ounce mug. Makes sense. Anyway, bottoms up. So, knowing that this is a small batch root beer, I assume that sometimes when you make it, maybe batches might taste differently depending on how they're made and so on. So, a little history. When I first had 1919, when I first found it at that little Wisconsin soda shop, I was saying before that it didn't really stick with me. But the truth is, it did. Because I remember my distinct thought at the time was this tastes like drinking a vanilla plug-in. I guess is the best way to put it. It tasted overly vanilla-y. I remember almost feeling sick from it. Now, that was the first time I had it, and I kind of didn't ever want to have it again after that. I understood why people might like it. Very sweet. But I didn't want to try it again after that. But then much later, after, again, like I said, a few people asked me to review it, and then finding someplace that sold it, I remember I bought a case of it at the time, tried it again, and thought it was wonderful. Completely different than my first experience with it. Now, I don't know, like I said, I'm assuming that's because it's small batch made, and maybe the batch that I had the first time maybe went a little overboard with the vanilla, and this one was a little bit more controlled. Who knows? I'm not sure. Who knows, right? So this can that I have here definitely goes more in line with how I felt about the batch that I got from the store, not the soda shop, but the liquor store where I found the case of it. Describing the taste, it kind of hits that sweet spot for me, where it's a very sweet root beer. Has a wonderful vanilla flavor to it. And like I said, this time for sure, this batch that I have here, well balanced. You might depending on how you feel about how you like your root beer, you might say that maybe it's too sweet. I could see that. But for my particular taste, it's like I said, it's hitting the sweet spot for me. It doesn't have notes of anything particularly special, right? Like there's no hidden flavors, and in fact that's kind of the whole thing is just like we're just good root beer, right? They don't claim to have like notes of any other flavors or anything. That it's sugar and vanilla are the two things that they tout on the can there. It's real sugar and real vanilla, and that's what you get, right? And it doesn't taste like anything else. It tastes like root beer. It tastes like a very vanilla heavy root beer. And if I was comparing it to other very kind of creamy vanilla root beers, I would say it's on the upper tier of that, of the ones that I've had, at least. Hard to score in my mind right now, because genuinely don't really have anything bad to say about it. I say it's a as far as drinking it, there's not much of a bite to it or anything like that. Like I said, it's mostly creamy, mostly sweet. So and even drinking it, it's not overly carbonated or anything like that, which is kind of incredible when you kind of saw the head on that thing. That was actually the fact that it's not like super like carbonated is actually kind of incredible. No, there's definitely a special kind of alchemy going on here with this one, and I'm gonna have to think about it for a second before I grade it, so I'm gonna do that. So like I said, this one's kind of complicated for me because I'm having a lot of different thoughts on it. So normally when I sit here and I say I have no problems with this one, like there's nothing I can point to with it that I would say like it's not very good. I think that this root beer kind of hits at least all the things that I like about root beer right on the head. I think it's delicious, and normally if I have nothing to complain about, but I have nothing to say that if I have nothing to point out that how it's special, I'll usually give that a B. But I think in this case, because it is the kind of root beer that I especially like, but it's also especially good for that style of root beer. So it would be hard for me to give it anything lower than an A. And I know it's crazy. That's a can. How can you give it an A? But it just is. There's nothing you or I can do about that. It's just what it is. But I mean, what are the chances of, review number 100 being an A, right? But like I said, because I've had wildly different experiences with 1919, I think that's this batch is an A for sure. I don't know if anyone else has ever had an experience where maybe they've had a batch of 1919 that was way too sweet or way too vanilla or way too much something, right? But every can of 1919 that I have had since that first one, well, actually I think I bought 2 at the time and they both kind of tasted like that, but every can that I've had since then has been a good experience. There was a point in time where I was buying 1919 almost exclusively to drink on my own. And the thing is, and I know this is going to sound super weird because of what I do, is I don't really drink soda. The root beer thing is kind of a special treat, I guess is the best way to put it. So the fact that within the last year, 1919 got me to actually purchase soda on a regular basis is also kind of a testament to how good I actually think it is. Like, the thing is I can go to the store and I can buy Spreckers anytime, right? But I don't, because I don't drink soda, but but for some reason 1919 got me addicted enough to keep on coming back to it for at least for a little while. And the thing is the other thing is because the cans are bigger, they're like they're 16 ounce cans, and because it's small brewed, it's like $19 for a 12 pack. So the fact that you can get me to spend $20 on 12 cans of soda is also very impressive. So I mean, I know I'm kind of going on and on about how good it is, but it is. I mean, that's it. So yeah, hey. All right, that's it for this one. And yeah, review number 100 all done. As far as the root beers that I have in stock, I guess the best way to put it is I'm closer to the end than I am to the beginning at this point. At some point, I'll probably try to find another service where I can get more root beers. Also, if you guys know any premium, small batch craft root beers that do come in a can, I would be interested in trying them. I know two brands off the top of my head that I can think of is Stubborn Root Beer, who used to come in bottles. Now it's only in cans, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And Wild Bill, which is I go to the conventions, like comic book conventions and stuff. And the comic book conventions I've been to in the past have had Wild Bills there as a booth, and they have all their some of their soda flavors up on like draft, and you can just go, and if you buy one of their little cans or whatever, or their cups, you can get it refilled throughout the day and everything, and and they're tasty stuff. So I'll put a shout out to Wild Bills too. If I can find a can of that, I will definitely review that. So otherwise, I guess that's it for number 100, and I hope you had a good time.